Hi everybody, my name is Rita Crompton. This session is about how do you get to market? How do you sell something? And you've gone through a bunch of the stages right now, but this is always the fun one to know whether or not somebody else is interested. So you might want to be able to do an online focus group with your friends. Friends tell you what you think. You know, sometimes it's kind of like a lemonade stand. All right, if you could make it and sell it, you want to be able to sell it. All right, if you've got maybe a craft show at school next fall, you could get some made up. It depends a lot on the product and what you're doing. Sometimes you can make them yourself at home, and sometimes you can't. All right, so what are you going to do? I've got, one of my local inventors, his son was always doodling on stuff, and so they actually bought a 3D printer. And they made a lot of their products, and he would sell them to friends on the 3D printer. The prices come down a lot these days. So it really depends on what it is. And this is a point where you really want to be able to talk to your folks and your friends and see, all right, what do we really have here? There's lots of people who make and sell stuff and they're just tinkering around. It's kind of like a hobby. And maybe this was just a school project, and once you get to this point, it's like, never going to sell these, really don't care. That's fine. And other people's like, I don't know. Let me make a few of these and see if I can split somebody with their, from their cash. Another thing. All right. If you go beyond that, if you've got something where you just really think it's got some legs, you can do some YouTube videos showing people, using it, playing with it, whatever it is, have some fun with it and shoot it out on YouTube. All right. You can have your folks help you with that. But when it comes to selling it, first you've got to know there's an interest in it. If this was just a fun thing to do during a pandemic when you're isolated at home, that's fine. But every once in a while, there's going to be one of you that's got some serious options here. So what you look at now, the multiple of 5. We talked about that in one of the earlier lessons. If you think it's going to be a $5 product and you're running them off on a 3D printer, you've got to make sure that you're paying for your supplies. All right, pretty simple. If you think that you're going to go to a store into retail, now that multiple of 5, that's when that kicks in. So if it's going to be $10 something a store is going to sell, retail $10, then that means basically you're making it somewhere for around 2. Those are the basic numbers. Now, within that realm of that multiple of 5, if you're making them in, the basement or in a, garage, and you can make a few of them and sell them, you can make them for $4.50 and sell them for $5. Those are numbers you get to play with. It's not until you kind of grow up and get out there, and I don't mean growing up you, I mean your product being developed, that you decide, this has got more potential than just something I'm going to sell at a school craft fair or to a few of my friends. Now you're looking at that multiple of 5 series because you can't make them all yourself. So now there's got to be manufacturing involved. And this is where, parents stepping in and saying, this is kind of a cool idea. Let's see what we've got on that. So now that multiple of 5 becomes some pretty serious numbers because you've got to be able to look at manufacturing. If the manufacturer, if you say, all right, friends, how much would you pay for this? And, your parents start checking it out and you're basically going to be a $10 item. And whoever's going to make them for you is going to charge you $5 per unit. That's not going to happen well. That's not going to be good for you, right? Because the store is going to buy them for you for $5. You've got to make something on them, right? So when you start looking then at the pricing, that is a key factor in getting to market. So let's say you've got that figured out. How do you sell it? Well, probably the easiest thing for you and your folks is to be able to sell them on Amazon. That's where you really start getting some legs. Some of you might think about doing, you hear about crowdfunding all the time. Oh, let's do a crowdfunding campaign. Probably not a really good idea. And here's why. It's expensive. It costs a lot of money to do a good Kickstarter campaign or Indiegogo. Now, if you know your pricing, all right, and your folks know where you can get them made, and you decide, all right, let's order 1,000 units, get them into a warehouse, and now do a campaign. That's one way of doing it. Most people don't realize on their first crowdfunding campaign that you have got to create the crowd before you launch the campaign. And most of them then do it on YouTube. Little short videos, just like we're telling you about this class and what you can do on your own. Little short videos. They're free. See what kind of interest you get. Tell people that you're thinking of doing a crowdfunding campaign. That's one marketing way to do it. The other, and one of the ways that we do it, is we go to a trade show. All right. It costs less to go to a trade show than it does to do a Kickstarter campaign. You see more people who might be interested in licensing your product. All right. When a company looks at licensing versus buying, all right, generally what they want to do is they want to take over the manufacturing for you. So this is a really important concept. If you've gone through all of these steps and your folks say, that's kind of cool, or your teachers, we hear a lot back from teachers say, we've got this really cool idea, you might want to take a look at it. When you get to that point, all right, then licensing means that someone else is going to make it, sell it, and send you a check. Well, when you're busy getting your homework done, that might be a really good option. You're going to learn a lot. Somebody else is going to do all the heavy lifting. That's pretty cool. If you're just going to make them yourself, you can get a good price point, that's fine. But keeping in mind that crowdfunding campaign probably is just going to be a money suck for you and your folks. Now, trade shows, it's still going to cost you to go to the show, but it doesn't cost you nearly as much in time, energy, and money to go to a professional trade show as it does to go to a crowdfunding campaign. Just to keep in mind. We get a lot of people then that will, you've got something that is not necessarily for a box store, all right, but it is something that you could do at a local craft fair or a flea market, all right? Those are all viable options when we're talking at this stage of the invention convention. So for the majority of you, you're going to fall into some different categories. One, this is just a fun thing to do with a bunch of Legos around the table and see if you can get it to work with some duct tape and cardboard added to it and maybe a couple of batteries. Yay, you go. For a few of you, it's going to be, I can maybe sell this to some of my friends. Let's see what we can do. That's cool. And for a few of you, your folks might say, this has got some potential. And then you're going to want to get them involved because most of the bucks that get spent at that point are going to be mom and dad's. And that's okay too. All right, figure out where you are with it at this point, because now we're down to, the last videos. You're starting to wrap things up and see what's going. I know that we've got one video that's going to be coming up with a gentleman that did all of his early stage inventing at home, got the research done. He's got 3 different products. One of them I've talked about, but I'm going to let Russell kind of wrap this up with the 3 different ones that he's worked on. He's gone through every single stage that we've talked about with you guys. And I think it'll be fun for you to see this fairly simple, straightforward products that he's come up with. And it might give you some really fun inspiration. So I hope you've had a really good time. We'll do some follow-up with this next week, and be safe out there. I hope you've had a good, productive winter session off school. And I hope your folks are still sane. My name is Rita Crompton. I'm the Inventor Lady, President and CEO of Archimedes Offspring, and it has been a pleasure to present this series to you for the At Home Invention Convention. Take care.